Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News Refresh on Arizona PBS. I'm Serena Raboyne. Thank you for joining us. After more than 12,000 new cases were reported yesterday, coronavirus case numbers are much lower today. The Arizona Department of Health Services added 4,444 new infections to its dashboard, with 108 additional deaths. The state total has now surpassed 7,000 fatalities since the pandemic began. A lawsuit filed by Arizona Republican Party Chairwoman Kelli Ward has been thrown out by the state's high court. The suit alleged widespread fraud in the 2020 presidential election, but the Arizona Supreme Court found that there was no hard evidence to support this claim. The director of ASU's Biodesign Institute held a media briefing this morning to discuss coronavirus testing and recent data trends in Arizona. LeBaire says nearly 40% of ICU beds are being used by COVID-19 patients. He says that means that there is a lot less room for people who need help with other health issues. That could range from heart attacks to less urgent tumor removal surgeries. LeBaire says if more precautions aren't taken, the math suggests case numbers will hit a peak around the beginning of February. And turning to the world of sports, the San Francisco 49ers and Arizona Cardinals are divisional rivals, but they've gotten pretty friendly while sharing the same stadium. But how long will it last? Cronkite News Refresh takes a closer look.
Hi, I'm with Sarandon and Amna, and today we're going to talk about the social media conversation that's been surrounding the 49ers coming down to play at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. So Sarandon, can you tell me a little bit about what's going on in that situation?
So essentially, Santa Clara County, where the 49ers play in San Francisco, has announced that it will not allow any contact sports from any levels. That's high school, college, and even professional, as we're seeing in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. So what that means is that the 49ers had nowhere to play for the last half of the season. And the Arizona Cardinals graciously opened their arms and were like, hey, come on down to State Farm Stadium. You can welcome here. So now both the San Francisco 49ers are playing in the Cardinals Stadium with the Cardinals for their last couple of games. And this ban for contact sports has gone on from November 30th until December 21st, at least. It may extend past that, but for now, the San Francisco 49ers are here to stay for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so bring it back to the social media thing. These two teams have really been bonding over social media. One would say that they might have established some sort of social media friendship. And that's really awesome to see. I mean, Amna, have you ever seen anything like this with two teams in the NFL before? Or is this really a first time thing?
It's definitely a little bit unheard of with two teams that are division rivals and they're playing in the same stadium. They've had some really, like you mentioned, a lot of fun on social media. They've done some stepbrother memes where what they're discussing Wi-Fi passwords and things like that. They've also been wishing each other good luck on the games as they're playing in the same area. So it's been fun to watch, but we'll see what happens as things get more competitive.
Yeah, right. All fun and games until it gets serious. Sarandon, how do you think this will play out for the rest of the season once they have established a more competitive nature?
I mean, I think it's going to be very interesting. You're going to see a lot of, I think that camaraderie on social media might go away pretty fast, but as of right now, they are being very nice and gracious to each other, especially for teams being in the same division. But something to look out for in the future is the field condition. State Farm Stadium isn't necessarily used to having 4 teams play on it every single week. You know, you have the home and away team for both teams. So instead, it's used to just having the Cardinals and whoever they were playing. So field conditions might be degrading towards the end of the season when the playoffs are coming nearer and those games get a little bit more crucial to win. So that might be something to keep an eye out for.
Now, how do you think it's going to play out?
It's hard to say exactly. With 4 games left in the schedule, they have relatively the same strength of schedule and how tough it will be. The Cardinals are up 1 game on the 49ers at 6-6. So we'll see how things progress, but they're definitely still vying for that last playoff spot. There's a couple other teams outside of this division also fighting for that spot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so obviously one of the big reasons that the 49ers had to come and play at the Cardinal Stadium is because Santa Clara no longer allows contact sports to be played at this moment. But what does that COVID number comparison kind of come down to between these two locations? I mean, Santa Clara, Maricopa County. Saren, what does that look like?
So that's actually one of the biggest talking points about this whole situation, right? Because Santa Clara County has been very strict when it comes to trying to restrict the spread of COVID-19 as much as possible. Right now, their current numbers of total cases is around 40,000, a little bit over actually. And here in Maricopa County, it's a lot higher. It's around 228,000 total cases. So the allowance of play in Santa Clara County is obviously trying to keep the spread of COVID-19 to as little as possible. But then when you look at here in Maricopa County, we're being a little bit more lax about our rules when it comes to our sports, especially our professional sports like the NFL. And it's definitely a talking point, to say the least, in seeing how the difference between the states and what they're allowing for their professional sports. Yeah,
and to Sarandon's point, the cases have been a lot higher in Maricopa, while the county is much larger than Santa Clara. It was reported a week before Thanksgiving that by population per 100,000, Santa Clara was recording 19.1 cases, and Maricopa County was over 50.1. So that's a pretty big discrepancy between the two cases. It just, like Sarandon said, it goes to show the different regulations and restrictions that each state has.
No, absolutely. As we always say, these are such unprecedented times. So it's just interesting to see how all these things are handled so differently, state to state, city to city, that type of thing. But for the time being, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And it's definitely going to be fun to have two NFL teams in Arizona for a while. So thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Coming up on Cronkite News, female broadcasters face a lot of criticism, but not usually because of what they say. The attacks are more based on what they look like and what they wear, but we explain why the attackers are now facing the backlash. Coming up on Break It Down, the search for equity and access in the justice system for people of color.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. And when you support your local station, you can get PBS Passport, giving you access to more episodes, more specials, more of what you love. Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. And when you support your local station, you can get PBS Passport, giving you access to more episodes, more specials, more of what you love.
With live sports making their comeback after the COVID-19 hiatus, also comes the bashing of sports broadcasters. Cronkite News reporter Hadley Heck has more on what the media is facing.
Female broadcasters are often criticized for everything from what they wear to the color of their lipstick. But as critics post on social media, they're the ones facing backlash. In the span of 2 weeks, female sports broadcasters have taken the heat from none other than their male counterparts. Chicago radio host Dan McNeil was fired for comparing ESPN's Maria Taylor's Monday Night Football outfit to that of an adult film star. The comparison was shocking to Lena Washington, a Phoenix native and current ABC reporter in Sacramento.
My initial reaction was really disgust because first, for this colleague, right, this person who also works in sports, to go there, not just to criticize her outfit, but in the manner in which he did, what he compared it to, was highly inappropriate.
Comments on how female sports reporters dress are nothing new, but the women in the industry have had enough.
At this stage, it's inappropriate to comment on what a woman looks like when she's doing her job, the way that her dress hugs her body, the way that her shoulders are exposed, the way that her lipstick or her nails are painted. Those are things that should be left out of the conversation, right?
Issues of race, gender, and social equality have been major discussions throughout 2020. The women of sports media call on everyone to help stand up and make a change.
you have people who have strong voices who people listen to, men in particular, I think, show their support and step up and say, this is not right. Like, I would never get criticized for something that I was wearing on the air.
Fox Sports Arizona reporter Jody Jackson says she's tried to let criticisms roll off her back. But in the current social media climate, she empathizes with what today's young reporters go through.
I'm trying to think of 21-year-old me, and you're trying to have this job and move up in the world and have a career, and you don't want to think about anything. You don't want to think about anyone disrespecting you or derailing you.
And then there's the added challenge of not only being a woman sportscaster, but also a woman of color.
We kind of live in a society and in an industry whereas people like me or Carrie Champion or Maria Taylor or Taylor Rooks, we might meet certain challenges in the job search that individual won't.
I've talked to a lot of young Black student athletes who are men. They have said they didn't quite realize the added battle that Black women fight.
The support for Maria Taylor regarding the Dan McNeil incident was overwhelming. It's a testament to a changing culture where professionals are held accountable for their actions.
These conversations have been prevalent throughout the year, and it seems change may finally be on its way. In the broadcast center, Hadley Heck, Cronkite News.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked an increase in citizenship fees that was set to take effect Friday. The plan by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services would have almost doubled fees for some services, which might have put naturalization out of reach for some immigrants. Carolina Hassett has more from our Washington bureau.
The ruling Tuesday by U.S. District Judge Jeffrey White was good news for immigrants seeking to become citizens.
It's a nice, temporary, good thing for applicants that, don't have the funds to pay the fee increase.
But it could spell trouble down the road for USCIS, which relies on fees for almost all of its budget.
The longer that the fee changes are enjoined, the more money USCIS will continue to lose each day. And we're talking millions of dollars.
USCIS unveiled the fees this summer, and they were scheduled to start Friday. Among other increases, a citizenship application would have almost doubled in cost, from $650 now to as much as $1,170. Advocates say that would have been too much for many.
The ability to live and work in the United States should not be a privilege that is limited to the wealthy.
USCIS, which gets 97% of its budget from fees, said the money is needed to offset a drop in business. But critics say the agency is proposing a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
If we look at what the Trump administration was doing to deter people from applying, it kind of makes sense that a lot of people were not applying, and also because of the pandemic. So those things were not taken into consideration.
Judge White didn't get into any of that. He ruled that USCIS failed to follow proper procedures before imposing the increase. He also said the two acting heads of the agency were not authorized to okay an increase. That could change if Chad Wolf and Ken Cuccinelli get Senate confirmation to run Homeland Security and USCIS, respectively.
Then they can start the process of reimposing the fees again,
which has advocates urging people to apply now while fees are low.
Right now is the time. If you're eligible, you meet the requirements, you might as well fill it out, apply, because what's going to happen tomorrow is unknown.
I still encourage people to apply. You never know what can happen. This is definitely a win for our community.
In Washington, Carolina Hassett, Cronkite News.
A USCIS official told Cronkite News this week that the agency is reviewing Judge White's ruling and would not be making any other comments at this time.
COVID-19 cases are still being monitored on all 3 state universities. ASU reported 162 COVID-19 cases last night, and Arizona reported 312 in the past 10 days. Tempe PD says they've issued 21 party citations to students since August 28. Taylor Tasler Oatley checked to see how student gatherings off campus are being handled.
As students returned to campuses across Arizona in August, many expected student life to look different from before the pandemic, but many were ready to resume their social lives. At the University of Arizona, the social gathering limit is no more than 10 people, but there have been reports of parties happening at off-campus residences.
Universities have highly discouraged student parties. Some have suggested students hold Zoom rooms with their friends for watch parties and to socialize while staying distant. But some students have decided to ditch the Zoom rooms and head out to parties around campus.
Each school has had to establish a set of guidelines for students who throw parties that are larger than the recommended gathering size. Kendall Washington White, University of Arizona's Dean of Students, explains how they are handling the situation.
That person will definitely be placed on interim suspension, and then we'll finish our investigation. And if it comes to the point where we realize that, yeah, you coordinated this party, then, you know, it's highly likely that that person would be suspended.
Washington White said the school is working with Tucson PD and UAPD to track when student parties are being held off campus. According to Fox 10, Arizona State University has recently faced backlash due to how they have handled COVID cases. When asked about the consequences for students who attend or throw parties, an ASU spokesperson sent a statement which states, "The university has been clear about the expectations for all members of the ASU community as we return to campus. Gatherings such as large parties pose a threat to public health and violate our student code of conduct. ASU will take disciplinary action against any and all ASU students who organize and attend such gatherings. Possible discipline ranges from warning to suspension and expulsion from the university. Some have been critical of the rules put in place by universities to stop parties. The U of A's Dean of Students says it's a matter of public health.
It's not a right to be an organization on our campuses. It's a privilege, and I say that on a regular basis. Like, you don't have to be on this campus, and we don't have to keep you on this campus. You have to behave in ways that we want you to demonstrate what your core values are, the good work that you do in the community, but it's not a right, it's a privilege."
Northern Arizona University has not responded to our request for an interview, but according to their website, the school has made their expectations of student conduct on and off campus clear. If students repeatedly violate the code of conduct, they will be suspended or expelled. NAU has also created an incident reporting form to express concerns and violations. Taylor Tassaroli, Cronkite News.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.